Hey everybody, welcome back. Thank you for joining me for another royal video. So, as I predicted in yesterday's video, we have two very different mental health events. One couple makes it all about them, the other couple makes it all about the people that they're there to see. So we are going to start, which is the ray of sunshine wearing a gorgeous yellow LK Bennett jacket, the Princess of Wales, escorted by her rather handsome husband, who always looks sharp as a tack in a suit, as they paid a visit to Birmingham. Catherine accessorised her jacket with a beautiful pair of tiny star hoop earrings. Now, these earrings are rather poignant to be worn on Mental Health Day. They were a present gifted to the princess in June earlier this year when she went to Maidenhead Rugby Club and she met Sarah Denton. Sarah Denton's daughter, 17-year-old Izzy Denton, had sadly, mere weeks before the princess's visit, had taken her own life due to struggling with mental health issues. One of Izzy's friends had designed the earrings, and all proceeds of the sales from the earrings goes to a mental health charity. Catherine promised her that she would wear the earrings, and World Mental Health Day was the perfect tribute and outing for them. At the event, Catherine gave a speech where she said that she and William believe we need to do all that we can as a society to help young people develop emotional and social life skills that they need for good mental health and to thrive in the world around them. Ultimately, we are working to build a happier and healthier world. The forum explaining our emotional worlds saw the couple take part in a series of workshops run by The Mix, which is a leading youth mental health charity. Prince William joined a panel discussion with TV star Dr. Alex George alongside mental health volunteers. Mentioning their Heads Together campaign, which was started in 2016, William recently revealed that it was actually Catherine that spearheaded that campaign together, and how 6 years later he felt that there had been significant progress, but there is still so much more to be done. He said to the group that it was important to him, particularly for me up here, is to hear from all of you guys in the room. It's about what it is that bothers you. What affects your mental health? What do you want to see changed? I need to listen and to learn from you. He made it very clear that it was very much about them, that he and Catherine want to know their concerns, their pressures, their experiences, and how that they can work together where they can push to make improvements to their lives. Catherine and William are very aware of their privileged platform and they use it to try and to make a difference. As I said, they are incredibly different couples, but their outlooks on life are also very different. Catherine and William make it very clear that they are there to learn from others, to not preach at them. They want to listen to them, to question them, not to talk at them. One thing is certain, both Catherine and William, whilst discussing something that is clearly so very close to their hearts, they always make it about other people. And it is the polar opposite to what Harry and Meghan are trying to achieve. They are very much using every opportunity to push their narratives and to, of course, promote themselves. Now, it should come as no shock to many of you that they decided to add in an extra stop, probably still reeling from the backlash that they got from the school in Harlem, where it was revealed that they had done a strict list of demands, had ordered in cushions and blankets so Meghan had the right aesthetic as she read her book, promoted her book to the young school children, and made teachers and students sign NDAs. So they made an appearance at alternative tech college called Marcy Lab that Archwell had made a donation to. Of course, that very important detail must always be published when Harry and Meghan make an appearance. They don't just turn up somewhere. Of course, it was labelled as another secret visit, despite taking their personal Archwell photographer along for the ride. I mean, come on, it was pretty obvious what they were trying to do, what their intentions were. These photographs were released directly to the media at the time of the engagement to coincide with Catherine and William's event in Birmingham. Meghan, dressed in her usual cosplay Diana-inspired outfit, normally has photographs drip-fed to the media days, sometimes even weeks after she's done a secret appearance. But these were immediately published. It's so predictable. You can see synchronize your watches to it. Their jealousy continues to shine on through, and it completely backfired on them because it showed up the fact that despite declaring to the world that they were in New York, no one bothered to turn up to see them. No one in New York was interested in them, and there must have been a real last-minute scramble to go, oh, William had such a massive outpouring of people, thousands of people turned out to hopefully see him, to greet him, shake his hand. Nothing, zip for these two, so they needed to still make themselves look special. Meghan rang Uber. Hi Uber, can you do us a favour please? And before you knew it, they had a 7-vehicle long motorcade. Now, he makes it sound really fancy and posh, you know, because you're expecting a presidential motorcade with 7 vehicles, but there were only a couple of security vehicles, I believe 1 police car, and the rest were just normal blacked out vehicles. And it's absolutely ridiculous. They were staying at the Equinox Hotel, which is 200 feet from the Hudson Yard where this festival was held. They could have walked it, in all honesty. If you look at the distance they travelled around this block on a map, it reminds me of the old Nokia game. At one point, they were probably going to meet up together and start eating their own tail. And it's absolutely hysterical from 2 people that often preach about people's carbon footprints. Absolutely unbelievable. The eco-warriors felt they needed a fleet of cars to escort them. Now, not only did they have this ridiculous number of vehicles with them, you can see here, they have their car surrounded by security, big security burly men. One of them, their favourite bodyguard, is Chris Sanchez, who used to guard Barack Obama. Chris quite clearly still thinks he's guarding the president. He's looking up into the skyline like he's waiting for a sniper. The only thing that Harry and Meghan need protecting from is the boos, and no one cared enough about them to even turn up to shout boo. You just know that must be really eating both of them up. Now, them staying at the Equinox Hotel I found kind of funny because last time they went to New York, they tried to bag a freebie from the Carlisle Hotel. The multi-millionaires tried to bag a suite for free. They said at a discounted price. We know what that means. For free, whilst they stayed there for their last event. And the reason why this whole big car chase apparently happened was because they were too tight to cough up for it and decided to stay further away from the venue where Meghan was receiving her award. Not only that, rumours did appear on social media that the Carlisle Hotel was indeed upset with Harry and Meghan because they took in their own photographer. You know, they like to pretend that the paparazzi are stalking them, and the Carlisle Hotel rates itself on providing privacy for all of its clients, not just the 2 ex-royals. So I can imagine that they were slightly miffed and relieved that they had chosen another establishment. Now, the ridiculousness didn't stop there. Just when you think they can't get any more ridiculous, Saint Markle and her miserable assistant strolled onto the stage. Harry has gone from moaning about being in his brother's shadow to very much being in his wife's. He looks like he would rather be anywhere but there. And who could blame him? At least Prince William didn't glare at him whenever he had the microphone in his hand. If that face staring at you is not off-putting when you're trying to speak, I don't know what is. No wonder Harry stuttered as he tried to thank the parents for being there. It was clear from the very moment Meghan strolled onto the stage like it was her very own daytime TV chat show, dressed in an angelic pure white off-the-shoulder number, better suited to a cocktail party, that this was clearly her moment. Meghan barely gave a glance towards her sad sack-looking husband dragging his heels onto the stage as she bounded towards her favourite thing in the entire world, a microphone. Meghan gushed on stage about how being a mum is the most important thing in her life. Then she paused. She let out a little giggle, then said, well, outside of being the wife to that one. She barely even gestured in his direction.
Outside, of course, being a wife to this one.
Talk about being demoted. No wonder Harry spent most of his time on stage looking like he wanted the chair to swallow him whole. It was hardly terms of endearment, was it, referencing your husband? I'm the wife of this man, the love of my life, the man that makes my heart go thump thump. No, obviously, I'm the wife of this one, my third child. Wow, she's not hiding her disdain for him very much, is she? Meghan further shows her irritation when Harry, who thankfully was given his own microphone and he didn't have to wrestle it out of her claw, starts talking. The look of annoyance on her face, she grits her teeth, she practically eye rolls towards the audience as he's talking. It's clearly obvious that she wanted him to stop talking and she's not afraid to let him know it. Now, even after when the parents had gone onto stage and spoken about their various emotional stories to do with their children struggling with social media, Harry went to shake this gentleman's hand and Meghan barged him out of the way. Harry was pushed aside mid-handshake so she could hug this gentleman who was quite clearly distressed from just speaking on stage about something clearly very emotional. I'm no body language expert here, but something tells me that that man would have just preferred a handshake at that moment. Meghan is like a face hugger from Aliens. She doesn't have a single thought if that person is actually receptive and wanting a hug at that moment in time. It's a case of the camera's on her, lunge. Now, whilst Meghan was on stage, she naturally started talking about herself because, well, it's Meghan. She loves talking about Mimi. Meghan went on to say that whilst their children were young, they weren't yet affected by social media, but she's frightened that one day they might just be. And, well, that's going to be easily solved. Just switch off the internet to whatever bunker it is that she's keeping the children in. Meghan laughed and giggled her way through, looking completely identical to how she did at an awards ceremony last December. But hey, as we know, Meghan has only so many emotions in her acting repertoire. Yet again, she proves that her tone and, of course, her outfit choices do not match the order of the day. They both spoke of the evils of bullying and algorithms that affect people on social media and how social media is bad and it must be changed. Whilst I believe that the parents at this summit care greatly about protecting others, Harry and Meghan care only about censoring others. It's about controlling the narrative, and they will use other people's painful stories to cover up that it's actually just all about them trying to silence their critics. But it is their utter hypocrisy talking about bullying in the media and online media where people cannot fight back. We all know that they bullied their staff. This is a couple that publicly trashed their families for money. They aired their dirty laundry in hope of turning the public against their own families. Not content with just falling out with them, they wanted the world to hate them as well. With books, magazines, documentaries, these are all forms of media that Harry and Meghan are preaching yet again that need to have immediate change. But they themselves have weaponized them and used them to attack their families and anyone who's ever questioned their motives. Now, I am of course not saying that there doesn't need to be changes across social media. I myself, being on social media all the time, are all too aware of being trolled about how much the police can do things and what you need to go through to actually stop someone from attacking you. There are far too many loopholes that bullies and trolls can continuously use. But there is also an element where parental responsibility has got to come into it. Rather than completely changing social media for everyone, why not just work on one particular area? Make it easier for children to be able to report their bullies. Parental controls. If you can put parental controls on your TV, why not their social media accounts? Schools also need to crack down on students having mobile phones in classrooms. They're often gearing each other on and filming bullying. That needs to be cracked down on. But listening to what Harry and Meghan say, they sound like so many other groups of people that we see now, that where they want to change it across the board for everybody, that you can only listen to news that they agree with, you can only hear views which they believe in, and that, I'm sorry, is a very, very scary future. But it's the utter hypocrisy of Harry and Meghan preaching to people about online safety, when again they also, I know I've mentioned it before, but it's so true, they have one of the most toxic fan bases ever sin. They harass people, they dox people, where they actually try and actively find out where you work, where you live, where your children go to school. They send death threats, and they come together and they go after anyone that dares criticize Harry and Meghan. And that's exactly why Harry and Meghan have not called them out, because they work as their own personal bot farm. Their fans are so crazed and they get so hyped up when anyone says anything that they view as negative about their idols, Harry and Meghan, that they mass attack and they will try and get someone cancelled. So Harry and Meghan see it as it works in their favour. They're having their critics silenced for them by their fan base using intimidation. They are a cult following, and Meghan is very much their idol. And this is where Meghan coming on stage, right, dressed inappropriately, thousands of pounds of clothing and jewellery, £10 of makeup on that would make Tammy Faye Baker blush. Right, they're sitting there with white backdrop, Meghan in white, everything's white to match. The flowers are white because we know Meghan's very big on aesthetics. But it's the sun ray beams in the background behind them. They look like they are TV evangelists. It would not surprise me at all if they had a dish being handed around to those parents at any point when they were on stage preaching from their ivory tower at them to ask for donations for Archwell, you know, arms for the poor. But let's be fair, Harry and Meghan probably need to recoup some costs because they got to pay all those Uber drivers for getting together for their motorcade, and Meghan needs to reimburse the venue for stealing one of their chair covers. Anyway, guys, that's it for me on this one. I will be back with you very soon where we can talk about all things Catherine and William and the wonderful things that they are drawing attention to. And guess what? It's not themselves. Take care for now. Bye.